Prime Minister Scott Morrison says there will be no change to Australia's international arrival cap following the second National Cabinet. Julia Bradley was there for us in Brisbane. Julia, also no more repatriation flights beyond the ones already announced.
Well, that's right, Tom. That's what came out of the second National Cabinet. The Prime Minister telling journalists this morning that there's going to be no change. So that international arrival cap, it will remain at the current amount. It's been halved, of course, and the earliest that we could see a change to that would be after February the 15th, which is when they will then discuss it again with state and territory leaders. So, of course, that is a bitter blow to Australians who are still stuck overseas. The Prime Minister says that they've already managed to bring home about 79,000 Australians, but according to the Department of Foreign Affairs, there are almost 40,000 Australians who are still registered and desperate to come home. Here's what the Prime Minister had to say.
We reviewed the arrangements as they relate to passenger caps coming to airports. We've made no changes there, but those arrangements go back to their earlier settings on the 15th of February, but there is the opportunity for me to engage with individual states and territories on a bilateral basis if we believe we can create additional capacity. Pleased to see that those Emirates flights have come back, only after a week or so of saying they'd go. We've got the other 20 flights moving, and we've been able to be quite successful in continuing to get many Australians home.
So, Tom, to put that into perspective, that means there will be about 2,000 less spots for Australians to come home. Right now, the cap for New South Wales, they're allowed to only take in a maximum of 1,500 people a week into hotel quarantine. For Queensland, only a maximum of 500 people. Now, another big item that came up in National Cabinet as well, of course, is that proposal that Anastasia Palaszczuk, Queensland's Premier, was going to take to National Cabinet about potentially moving Queensland's quarantine program into the regions from the cities. Now, the Prime Minister was asked about that in that press conference following National Cabinet. He said he's yet to see a proper proposal from the Premier, but they will be meeting up later this afternoon when she will be handing over the details for that arrangement.
I keep an open mind on these things. The government keeps an open mind on things. All I've simply done is reflect the views of those I spoke with when I was up in Gladstone, and they were views that were candidly expressed to me. And there are a lot of questions that have been raised, in particular by the Labor Mayor up there in Gladstone, and they're issues that obviously would have to be addressed in any proposal. This is a proposal which I anticipate getting more detail on today, that has been put forward by the Queensland Government, and so it's a matter for the Queensland Government to work through those issues in their proposals, I think, with those local communities.
So, of course, there's still a lot of uncertainty surrounding that proposal. We've heard a lot of criticism coming from regional areas, particularly Gladstone, which is one of the areas that was proposed, a mining camp there to be used as a quarantine facility instead of hotels. We are going to be hearing from the Queensland Premier shortly, but I will take you through another item that was mentioned in National Cabinet as well, and that was the fact that there will be no mandatory rule for people in aged care to receive the vaccine when it is rolled out. The Prime Minister said that they are hoping that they are on target, of course, for the rollout, particularly of the Pfizer vaccine as well. We know that the aim was to be midway through January to get that all finalised, to see that rollout in mid-February for those priority groups, but aged care won't be one of them.
At this point, they are not recommending that be the case. But that doesn't mean that that mightn't be a position in the future. And so we will take this step by step. And I have no doubt if there were concerns about the well-being of vulnerable Australians, particularly elderly Australians, then they would make such a recommendation.
So still a lot of unanswered questions following that second National Cabinet. We will be hearing from the Queensland Premier shortly and hopefully get a little bit of a better understanding about whether this proposal might be accepted and rolled out in the months to come. Tom?
Julia Bradley, thank you.